questions, I guess, appear, you can ask them right away. So we are NADO Curatorial Agency. My name is Olga Vad.
And my name is Yulia. Hello again, and thank you for making it through this rainy day to listen to us.
So the plan for today is to represent us a bit and our practice, and to explain actually what curatorial agency is as a format, and how we work with our exhibitions, how we work with our artists, how we implement immersive experiences in our exhibition projects. So as for me, I'm curator, I'm co-founder of NADO Curatorial Agency. I'm also associate professor and head of art and science master's program in ITMO University. So it's in St. Petersburg, Russia. It was the first art and science program launched. We teach in English and still maintain to have an international team of teachers and students both. So I've been in the field for almost 15 years now, and I started as art journalist. I worked in non-profit. For example, one of the projects that I was leading was the exchange program between Mikhail Prokhorov Foundation and Brooklyn Academy of Music. I've been museum curator. I worked in the biggest science museum in Russia, in Polytech Museum. Been a program director of Polytech Festival of Art, Science and Technology, that was a big scale event gathering more than 150,000 people through a weekend, and many other things. So for me is I got this 360-degree view on the art scene. So from the side of a journalist, non-profit, curator, and now we a few years ago, just before the COVID, we went independent and organized our own curatorial agency, our own entity.
Yes, and this is me. I'm Yulia Loginava. Hello once more. And I've been in cultural and immersive and experiential marketing production for over 11 years now. I started back in 2014 as an independent producer, which then grew to be my own business in temporary construction for exhibitions and fairs. And at that point, I realized a variety of large-scale international projects, such as Home Milano. I worked for the Sochi Olympics, producing the entertainment program, and many more. But at a certain point, I found myself in this search for something more meaningful, I would say, and developed this strong interest in culture and arts, which led me to work in the Polytechnic Museum as the partnership specialist and special events producer, which is actually where we met with Olga to realize several festivals within the Polytechnic Museum. And it quite quickly became obvious that our professional ambition and vision lay far beyond what the museum could offer at that point. So yes, we decided to go independent, and this is how NADO was born in 2019. And here we are, So yeah, and yes, actually the most common question that we get asked here so far is, what is a curatorial agency? What do you guys do? And basically this is what we do, and this is who we are. We are a independent female female-run creative team realizing projects on the intersection of arts, science, and new technologies. And we Actually, we do quite a variety of activities in this sphere. So we curate and we create these meaningful, engaging narratives. We do artistic selection and we commission artworks. We create, we develop installations and artworks concepts, and we produce those. And we make things happen. That is, we fundraise, we coordinate, we manage, we orchestrate all those complex projects and complex processes within the sphere. And we also like to experiment and test different formats. And for example, here at Noise, we're working in the agency format. So we are representing a selection of artistic works here at our booth. So please wear B6. The ones who haven't visited us yet will be happy to see you there and boast the amazing selection that we have. We work with a variety of formats. We do festivals, we do exhibitions, we do edutainment, we work with XR and many, many more. And we also do both. We do commercial projects and we do nonprofits. So we cooperate with brands and we cooperate with institutions. We don't limit ourselves in here. And it's really important for us to create engaging and memorable experiences for our audience, as well as to build and maintain links between different communities, different fields of activities, and different countries even. So we do love interdisciplinary. And we love to experiment and we love to train you. And this is who we are as a curatorial agency.
Yes, and so we are going to speak a bit our main projects and actually how we do them, what is our principle, so and what are our principles, I guess. So most of all, we work with the art and science and technology field, and with the new media art in general. And for us, like, why we do that? Because for us, it's one of the most like relevant and adequate language to talk about contemporary society and the society that's whose logic lies in technology and the idea of the progress of thoughts. So we also think that art, science, and technology is ever-evolving language as far as like new technologies arrive and scientific ideas happen. And we believe that technology is not a trend; it is a language to describe like our context and our future. So here are the few projects that we realized so far. So this was a huge large-scale exhibition, Hydra, New Media Art in the Context of Eco-Anxiety. So it happened in St. Petersburg in 2021. Yeah. It was a 6-month exhibition, 3,000 square meters, international lineup of artists. And like, as you can, I guess from the title, so it was about ecological agenda, and so we got this main concept, like the main word Hydra, and it like refers, like first to water, this element from which all the life happened, and as the mythical creature, whose heads could be cut off by the protagonist, but it grows its heads back. So what is this metaphor for then? So our idea was that to pose that the main question of ecology is not like saving planet, yes, because the planet is much more mighty than any humanity actions to destroy it, but rather to the main question of the ecology is to save the ecosystem which is like more comfortable for us. And so the main question is like, how are we going to deal with those like answers from the planet?
Yes.
When the humanity like it destroys the continent, it changes the continents, it changes the essence of the air, of the water, and so on. But and some issues, some elements they die, but some others arrive. And the main question, how we're going to deal with those new elements that appeared.
Yes, yes. So you cut one of the hydra's heads and you have two others growing instead of that, and you never know what those will be. And also the question is the humanity one of those heads maybe? So
yeah. So we got this three sections, like, for example, one of them, it was like the destruction. So the afterlife of the Earth that happened after the Anthropocene happened. Yes, how humanity is interacting with the Earth elements, and how we change the planet's surface. And we got an amount of like I think 5 or 6 installations by international artists, for example, Light Society, Mautic, Universal Everything, and so on. Actually, yes, exhibition Whispers, which is on the right photo, was produced by Electro Festival, which is also presented here on the at the art fair. And Mautic, he's like one of the renowned French artists, and we represent his new fresh work in our booth here at the art fair. Like another section of the exhibition was about the attention, how humanity studies the results of their nature of the changes that was done to the ecosystem, and how they can like fix those changes, or at least like reflect on them. And in this section, we represented works by such artists as Rimini Protocol, Jana Vinderen, and so on. And like the last section was simulations. So if we accept that some of the organisms and some of the biological species will disappear because of our actions. So how are we going to deal with this absence of something that we used to be with? And so we represented works by Memakt and by Tundra, and also a few other artists in this section. And so we work a lot with the context of art and science. So what is art and science? It's a field at the crossroads of contemporary art and scientific knowledge, and actually a new model for meaning creation. And one of the most, I would say, art and science-y projects that we realized was the commission of the work by artist Where Dogs Run. It was called Kerosene Fungi, Kerosene Chronicles the Fungi. So it was a robotic installation. You could see this like 4 robots on the photo, and those robots were working on a kerosene infused by kerosene fungi. So this is an organism that was first invented, developed in the second half of the 20th century, and it lives in fuel tanks, in the oil, in airplane, diesel, how do you call it? Kerosene.
Diesel, kerosene,
yes.
Oil, and actually it can survive on every products that contain oil and kerosene. So this organism developed due to the development of humanity. Otherwise, it wouldn't have existed on Earth at all.
Yeah, so this is actually like this creature of the technological revolution that we were talking about in the first place, which appeared because of the actions of the humanity. And so this fungi can really affect the fuel. It can destroy an airplane and cause an airplane crash. And so we, like together with the artists, we were running these 4 robots on kerosene infused with this fungi. And when this fungi grows in the kerosene, it also affects, it gets this very typical smell. And so those robots were interacting with each other by smell detectors. So they were actually smelling each other and how much fungi is there in the kerosene. And then based on that, we're building different strategies how to interact with each other. So some of them, so they could actually like make pairs and take kerosene from one to from one to each other, or maybe so there are different strategies if they're hunting or if they're surviving and so on and so on. Mm-hmm. So this was quite an interesting project which was acclaimed many awards actually, as well as Hydro exhibition in general. And like what is interesting about this project is how the sense of smell is used as a tool of communication between living system and non-living system and technology. Because as we know, like the smell is the only one system left where a human can detect smells better than a machine. So it's still like we're faster in here than any other technology.
Yeah, I should say that another interesting part of this project was its production, because in order to make it happen, we had to find this fuel infected by the fungi, and it was a huge challenge. And in the end, we managed to find a person who collected different types of fuel and agreed to share the specimen of this infected fuel so that the artists could work with it. And well,
yeah, we found like a huge community who was collecting old fuel, and also like a smaller community that was collecting actually fungi infused kerosene and could detect different fungi by smell. So this was very
an amazing new world open
an amazing
for us at
world
that point,
of lovers of fungi.
Yeah.
So let's talk about further.
Yeah. Maybe we should say just a bit of what topics we work with. And the answer to that would be all, because we like challenges and we like working with both really complex and really conventional topics. And our approach here is to find this fresh new angle of looking at the topic, to be able to transform it into this engaging narrative in a physical space or in a digital space, depending on what format we're working on for a certain project. And also here we concentrate on our audience and think about them, and this is one of the key factors of our approach, I would say. So we try to design this easy entrance point to the narrative, and also we try and do our best to align the narrative with the routing, so we're being really careful with that. So yeah, we do try to design the experience we are providing for the audience, and to be as understandable as possible, no matter what topic we're on at the moment. And we've spoken about quite a complex topic, I would say, in terms of Hydra. And another example, good example of topics we work with would be the next exhibition we're moving to.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, like, by complex, topics will also mean like overused topics, like let's say ecology. At some point, ecological narrative turned into some kind of a doom scrolling with the main narrative of guilt. And of course, we wanted to try to speak about it in a different way. Not maybe positive, but rather reflective, I would say. And yeah, really work with different topics. So it's mainly because of our past in the Science Museum. We worked a lot on the on developing the new science exposition, and so gained this ability when we can actually work for a couple months and delve into any topic, maybe except like quantum physics yet, but generally like any.
Less than a couple of months.
AI, from AI to the literary work of Nabokov and ecological context and the history of football.
Or football. Yes.
Oh, football,
or football.
Yes. So yeah, so one of the recent projects that we did, so it was in collaboration with the football club Zenit. So they had some kind of jubilee or got some extra prizes, and or both, yeah. And they wanted to collaborate with the artists, so we did this quite weird, I would say, exhibition about football, which didn't have, we didn't contain any like stories about the wins and what is the vice versa?
Yeah,
and
I mean,
losers of the
yeah.
team, on the change of the coaches or the main stars and so on.
Yeah,
so,
no, this muscular figure of the big winning football player
Yeah,
in the center of the exhibition.
Yeah, we didn't want that, and we didn't want any like football balls in the exhibition, so on. So, well, like we were thinking, so how we can change that, and so we decided that maybe it makes sense to talk about the fans, because as we know, like how the football industry grew. In the beginning, it was very direct contact between the players and the fans. They could like communicate directly, and now it's like a huge industry, and actually the fans developed this language of special language to deliver like their attitude and messages to the teams. Like they have graffiti, they have performances, they wear clothes, and so on and so on. So we wanted to, yes, take those elements and to ask the artists. Actually, well, we didn't ask the artists. We developed the exhibition ourselves, and then hired the artists to
produce.
To produce, yes. So yeah, to think about that. Like, let's maybe move to yes, and why number 12? Maybe you can.
Yeah, number 12 stands for this term, the 12th player, which is a term used by the football clubs to honor their fans, to make them part of the team, like well, metaphorically and almost physically.
Like famous players, like
yes.
Some famous players that go from one team to another, but still keeping their number on their shirt. And the same for their fans. So it's like a way to honor them.
Yes. So here it was really important for us to look into, not into the game of football itself, though of course football is in the exhibition, it was inevitable, but also to look at what's happening around it, at the culture surrounding it, at the connections built between the players, between the team, with the fans, ways the fans communicate with each other and the team. So all those complex things going on outside the field, actually, but the things that define the game in the end, because the majority of players, we were doing some interviews with them, the majority of players say the same thing: we are playing for our fans. So not for the victory, not for money, which
is nice, I guess.
Which is nice, but yeah, let's believe them. So we're playing for our fans. And that is why, yes, that is why number 12. And we had a variety of installations that we represented. We worked out all the concepts on our own, and yes, as Ola said, we then collaborated with artists for production. So here on the pictures we have the first one on the left. It's the installation called Juxtaposition. And here we wanted to give the visitors a glimpse into the memories of the football players, where they were reflecting on why they actually chose this type of game, what inspired them and what led them to play football in the end. Yes, when thinking about this installation, we were a lot inspired by Harry Potter, surprisingly. If you remember, in the movie they have, and in the book, of course, they have those living photos and living paintings that start talking to you when you approach them. So this is actually the methodology that we used for realizing this installation. We took two pictures of the football players, the ones when they were younger, and the ones when they are already established players and older. And we used AI to make those photos alive and talking. And thus, the visitors could hear the story told by the young player about how they started, which then transformed into the grown-up player already established, already of now. And we also used some interactivity here, so we wanted the visitors to literally step into the memories. And we, with the help of Kinect technology, when the visitors approached the screens, the memories, the visuals became alive and started speaking to them. And yes, it was quite one of my favorite projects here. A little bit weird, but to a good extent, in my opinion. And the other one on the right, what is this? This is
Ephemera. It's Ephemera 1, so we also represent this artist on our booth. So the idea was to represent a play of football, how it could be represented in a metaverse, where we don't have any limitations with material costs or gravitation and so on. And so the artist used the data from one of the games and represented it in a format of a digital sculpture. So it was like really weird in a good way, moving installation.
Yeah. So we wanted to look at when the gravity has no influence on how you can watch the game, which is obviously possible in metaverse. So this is what we did. So you could be inside the field, having this type of helicopter view from the tribunes, everything, and also the stadium was moving alongside with what was going on in the field, alongside with this data sculpture based on real game data, as Olga said. Okay. Yes, so on the left here we have the installation Metachron, and here we were keen on driving this parallel with the natural world. So I'm sure you all know this performance of the football fans that is called the Mexican wave, when everyone stands and waves their hands at the stadium. So this is, we wanted to draw this connection between the metachronic rhythms which can be observed in nature with collective organisms like bees, like shellfish, and
in many aquatic organisms, yes. So this idea of the metachronal rhythm is that the movements are made one by one, not synchronically, and this is like made this image of a wave. And so we did this aquatic colored, I would say, installation.
Actually, yes, this inspired the image, and again, it was interactive, so the visitors, by waving their hands at a certain interaction point, they could launch the wave all alongside the screen. That was the idea.
To launch a wave outside of the context of the stadium.
Wave launching. And the other one, quite a simple one, but one of the most popular, it's Out of Bounds, and it's actually a digital gaming instrument the visitors were able to play football, digital football on the screen. So you can see on the picture their shadows, their silhouettes, and there were also the balls on the screen that they could kick with their shadows. And also we had generative graphic and soundscape here, which was changing according to what kind of movement was going on, what kind of game was going on at the moment in the hall. Yeah, that is the idea. So yes, as you might have noticed, we've used a lot of interactive technologies for this exhibition, and actually we think that interactive might be really helpful in designing experiences, because physically engaged people can not only explore more and can not only invest more invest more time, right, and get more interested in what's going on, but also they can co-create, and that's really important. So they can design their own experiences, which kind of makes them a little bit co-authors of what they are observing and of what is going on the screen and with them at the moment. So we do love interactive, but of course what we do in terms of experience design is not just limited to interactive only. We also work with immersive environments, and this is our, I would say, latest point of interest and where we're heading. Yes, and I'm sure you all know what immersive is. So basically this is about designing an environment where the visitors' feelings and sensory feelings are being, yes, exactly, emotions as the result are being triggered, and this in turn triggers certain actions, and this is like direct experience design. So you can trigger relaxation, exploration, anything basically. And this is an amazing instrument. And another amazing instrument to help with this is, of course, sensory design, which we use a lot for the exhibitions. And when I say sensory design, it's not just the big five, what everyone usually thinks about when hearing sensory design. That is what we have: taste, eyesight, smell, feeling of touch, and yes, hearing the sound. So there is actually more. There are more feelings that can be triggered and that can enhance the narration, enhance the experience. So there is the nociception, which is feeling of pain, and it is sometimes quite successfully used for artistic projects. There is thermoception, the feeling of temperature, which can significantly add to the experience. There is the sense of balance. There is mechanoreception, for example, which is also sometimes quite a nice instrument to use. And speaking of mechanoreception, we had one of the installations that we had in our number 12 exhibition was named Listening to the Stadium, and we originally planned it as an audio installation only. So the idea was to record 5 situations during a football game, and at the audio stations people could listen and get absorbed into the game, like for example when a goal is being scored or something. But then we decided that we want to enhance this somehow, and we chose a really simple tool. We added motors under the sound stations. So the motors were activated and vibrating alongside with the buses in the sound. And that added this to this feeling of presence. So quite a simple thing, but still I think it worked out really nicely. Yeah, and speaking of immersive, of course, here we come to Mautik.
Yes, One of our recent project was also creating and producing the exhibition of Mautic. So he's a well-known French media artist. He works a lot with generative music and sound, with mapping, with dome projections and so on. And like what is he interested in is the like creative potential of code and like how we can add like more improvisation to the artwork by using generative software like Touch Designer, for example. And so, of course, he has like a vast variety of works, and our exhibition included, I think, 6 immersive projects, environments. So our choice was first to have the works which allow us to experience nature through the realm of digital data. And so he was, in many cases, like it was this juxtaposition of the forms that can be found in nature with the images that can be generated like by bits, pixels, algorithms, and so on. And also, like on our booth, we also have a lot of projects that connect this digital and natural of sorts. And another important thing for us was to choose works that have tangible interfaces. Like what is tangible interface is when we can manipulate some physical object and influence the digital content on the screen. So that was our main priority.
Yeah, definitely so. And again, we had some of the amazing installations which were adapted for the space. For instance, here on the left we have Bloom, and basically it's a digital garden which can be orchestrated by the visitors. So when the visitors touch the screen, the flowers start growing and evolving and building patterns, and it's really, really beautiful. And we also have the sense of blue. It's actually also, I think, a very beautiful image. So it's an immersive installation that is to transport the visitor to the darkest point of night, to the depth of night. So it's and yes, and of course the light bearers, another poetic image from this exhibition. It's well, the idea is that the visitor find themselves in a night, so in a night forest inhabited by fireflies, and there are interaction stations. So when moving the hands, the visitor can orchestrate those fireflies and see how they move and what's happening with that. So it's the exhibition is a blast, actually. So
still is it's on view in St. Petersburg. Maybe let's go to the other to our last topic.
Sure. We can speak endlessly about Mautic, so we can move on.
Like also we work a lot with the format of the metaverse, and we see it as a new language as well as not only as a platform or a social network, and we try to include also gamification tools in our experiences. And like recently we had a few projects in the metaverse. So one of them was festival Future Cities. So the idea was to actually search how new technologies are changing the food ecosystem, like both from the side of all the processes in the from producing to getting rid of trying to find the synonyms. Sorry, of the waste. like the waste management, and how it's changing our ability to sense food, yes, and how is it possible to build a circular economy there in the food system. So one of the projects which is on view, which like one part of the project is on view on our booth is, and we also did it in the metaverse, and it has also like a physical installation. What was the project Natura Cognita? So it is a really cool, in my opinion, R&D project of sorts. So there is a team of Austrian and Russian programmers, developers, architects, and designers who developed a sensor that is used for growing plants. So it can be used, for example, in the vertical farms, and it takes care of this plant system. It traces how much water it has, does it have enough minerals, and so on. And so this sensor needs electricity, and this electricity is also produced by a plant. So there is this technology when you inject bacteria inside the roots of the plant, and the plant and those bacteria starts to produce electricity. So it's not a lot of electricity, but it's enough to feed this sensor. And so the sensor also takes data and turns this data into a living digital sculpture, like this bluish thing looking like a tree, probably. So this is an example of this form that is being created by a plant. And then they, it's not the end of the story. So they take this digital sculpture and they tokenize it. So they turn it into a token. And so we all know that mining cryptocurrency is not the most eco-friendly process. It requires a lot of energy, a lot of resources. And so there is, of course, a concept of eco-coins. So how we can mine cryptocurrency so it could be like eco-friendly. So this, and in this system, the price of this eco-coin, eco-token, is depending on the how the actual plant is feeling. Like if the plant is nicely taken care of, then it's the price grows up, and if it starts to feel lesser, then the price goes down. So it's like a circular economy.
At its best.
At its best, yes. So the plant produces electricity, the plant produces an art, and so the price of this art depends on the quality of the ecosystem. And another project, it's from an other artist that we realized in the metaverse is the project by Maria Fedorova. She's also represented on our booth. There is this 3D holographic fan, which is very popular, I guess. So Maria works also a lot with the topics such as the cohabitation of the natural in digital, and here she deconstructed the cherry tree as the example of a plant that whose elements can be all used in the production of the food or the waste or architecture and so on. So actually this and she usually also works with the format of a zoetrope. So zoetrope is a very old school way to show from the 17th century or 18th to show moving images. You know, this circular construct with a small images of the same thing, which is when rotating, it gives us the image of moving picture. And so she deconstructed in her own way this cherry tree, draw different elements, and they were dancing in the metaverse in this constant movement. Actually now we are working on another project in the metaverse. We are collaborating with one of the museums in the outskirts, not in the outskirts, in the countryside of St. Petersburg. So it's Rождественно, Batovo, and Vyra were the estates of Vladimir Nabokov family. So Vladimir Nabokov is a Nobel Prize nominee. He was nominated 4 times, I guess, and he's the well-known author of Lolita. But he has a lot of other works. For example, a lot of biographies, and he lived in these real estates until he was 17. Then the revolution happened, and he had to leave. And so in his works, he has this concept of Nabokov lands, which are like these real lands partly destroyed. And he describes it as this ideal paradise where he wants to go back in his memories. So we are introducing this concept of Nabokov lands in the metaverse to,
The idea of Nabokov lens basically is that this is an image of the past and an image of the desirable future, which exists only in the memory of the writer and in his works, but doesn't exist in real life. And we thought that metaverse could be a great format to try and reconstruct it, of course, given the instruments that metaverse offers. They are not very extended, but still. Suggest this trip over the Nabokov's lands, over this Neverland, I would say, within the digital space. And the idea is that the visitor of the Nabokov lens is a sort of the explorer, and it's a kind of a quest, actually, where also text-based quest, because Nabokov is the writer in the end, right? And the visitor, when exploring the space, the metaverse, collects the image and the idea, and then understands the idea of the Nabokov's lens and what they were for the author. That's our idea. But of course, this is quite a complicated project. Not a complicated, that's a bad word, an interesting, let's say, project, because on the one hand, we work with the writer and with the museum, the writer's works, and with the museum. On the other hand, we have quite a fixed format in which we have to combine both somehow, and that's a bit of a professional challenge, but a very interesting one.
Because the metaverse, it promises this unlimited access, but however, its tools are still quite limited.
Developing, let's say. So yes.
So this is actually what we wanted to talk about. We wanted to represent a few of our projects. This is us.
Our projects, our approach. Thank you so much for coming. Maybe you have some questions.
Can you talk maybe a little bit about how things have changed recently, how you guys are able to... Oh, sorry. Hi. Maybe if you could just make a couple of comments. I mean, I'm kind of curious about the sort of cultural landscape in Russia, or St. Petersburg is probably easier since that's where you guys are from, but how things have changed recently, and how if you're able to continue your work, or if, I imagine it's become quite difficult.
No, of course, yes, we can go on and on about the difficulties. To maybe summarize it. So regarding the art scene, the local art scene, I would say that most of the middle career artists, they left the country. So mostly young artists stayed, like who are at the beginning of their career. Like I'm the head of this program in the university. We have, in general, like 50 students who are studying art and science, and we have like different backgrounds. Some of them are artists, some of them are scientists, engineers, programmers, and so on. So yeah, for them, it's still the beginning, so they are interested in the topic. Like the events didn't influence them much, I would say. And the other group of artists that stayed is like established artists who are like already at the peak or after the peak of their career. So in this case, yeah, so a lot of like young, not yet, like middle career names are now anywhere else except Russia. So this is, yes, it's a challenge for us also to like develop projects inside the Russia, because of course if an artist is trying to embed themselves into, for example, European context, it means like grants, European grants, and usually to get European grants, you can't have any connections to the Russia. Like, you can still like work for any of the projects or the universities and so on. So this is painful, I guess, for everyone involved here.
Yeah, but in terms of what we do, actually, I would say that since we are not part of any institution and we are independent, for us it's just about, it has always been about agility to a certain extent in terms of finding projects or initializing projects, right? And now, sure, inside of the country there are less opportunities, and that is a sad thing, but we still do our best also to try again to maintain cultural connections, which we consider is crucial, especially now, especially in the current context, because it's really difficult to destroy the connections and then building them again from nothing. It's, well, another type of work, I would say. So yes, we continue balancing on the intersections.
So, like, yeah, well, regarding like money-wise, most of the international brands and companies left, who were, for example, very active in supporting the cultural field. Some of the charity foundation of like Russian foundation, they stayed. I don't feel that there is like any change of the agenda, so they support culture. Of course, like some of the like patriotic oriented stuff appeared definitely, but we are not like working with them. Some of a few international charity foundations still are active, like Institut Français, like our university. Yes, so we changed the priority to like Latin American countries, to Southeast Asia, India. With Africa, I'm not sure. I don't think so. So yeah, there is like different direction, but actually, like regarding that, I'm quite. It's very interesting. So my like next step will be the research of the Mexican art scene, which is very diverse. I mean, it's amazing. Finally, there is this opportunity to dig into this context. Yeah, like some of the cultural institutions closed for sure. Some has to host patriotic events now. Yeah.
Yeah, but well, by that we're not being affected directly. It's just kind of an observation of what's going on inside.
Like one of the recent events, there was Progilvet's foundation from Switzerland was still active until like lately, and we were supposed to do a project with them, but just I think in the end of December, they realized that they're closing their branch, so this project is cancelled now. It was also a metaverse exhibition, actually, about the topic of migration. So we wanted to also to try to avoid this like doom scrolling type of talking about migration, and wanted to do an exhibition about like the concept of migration in the sciences, of migration of plants and animals, and how the history of this question, and so how it could represent the migration of the people and so on.
And how it could be a solution instead of a like social problem as many see it, let's say. Right?
I mean, it's a problem, but it's nice to have like a bit of different perspective. Yeah. So not only to talk about this very narrow, not only to dive into this very narrow narrative. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's our answer.
I hope, yeah, this answer.
Yeah, it's always good to hear how it's so important to keep working somehow. So it's good to hear that. Agility is the name of the game, I guess.
Oh yeah. Well, the more rigid the times, the more agile one has to become. That works for everyone, I guess.
Very wise, yes.
Okay.
If anyone has some other questions, comments. Yeah.
So, first of all, thank you for the talk. It was very inspiring. And I think what I'm very curious about is like the selection process of new media arts. Because like when you're creating a traditional exhibition, like it's, you know that every artist like has their own unique style. But when it's new media art, I feel like, sorry, I'm having trouble breathing because of my asthma. So in new media art, it's more about like the experience, but not the creator of it. So like at this point, how do you select these work? Like how do you know the worth of these? Like how do you selection them?
I would say that because like we have these different formats of work. So like we do exhibition, and this is one thing. We do like educational program where we invite artists also to educate other artists, and we like started to doing this like gallery type of work, so artist representation. So like every for each task we choose differently. Like if it's large scale, and we prefer to do them still large scale exhibition, then we understand that it's very important to like seduce the visitor somehow. So this project has to have like an easy access point, but probably like in many layers, so it could get the interest of the visitor. Yes, not overwhelming with like data or information at the first point. And then like if the project is done like very successfully, then or if the visitor is interested, they can dive deeper. Like for example, a few years ago, we brought performance Inferno by Louis-Philippe Demire and Bill Warren. So it's one of the most famous performances, interactive performances with exoskeletons. And so like it was the perfect format for a festival. Like it has this very seductive form of exoskeleton costume that you have to wear yourself, and you find yourself like in a nightclub, but you understand that you hear the music, you see the lights, but you understand that you are moving, but it's not your decision to move. It's the exoskeleton that is controlling your body, and so it makes the dance. And so for people, it was like a huge success. Like for us, it was a success. For the audience, it was very interesting because for some, the format of the skeleton was interesting as it is. Yes, for some knew who Bill Warren and Louis Philippe were, and like the classics of electronic arts. So for others, it was the narrative which was interesting because it you could see this doomed future controlled by the robots. You could experience them. So yes, for the exhibitions, we try to have this like very seductive projects of sorts. And which also show the complexity. For the educational projects, I care more about the artistic method of the artists, like how he or she does the research, what is their like art thinking or design thinking, or like so research based is very important for the education. For the gallery format, I guess that we are still trying investigating, but I guess like we divide it into two parts, which are more like impulsive. How to call it? Like
like I would say yes, two parts. One is more minimalistic, sober, museum-like art. And the other is more something vivid, catchy, impulsive buying. Yes, I would say would be the approach. I mean, in terms of the fair, right? Because here we are trying to sell in the end. So it's a different approach to the selection. And also I think a lot depends on the format, as Olga just said, whether it is exhibition, education, fair, and also on the audience, because we also keep in mind the audience and whom we are doing the exhibition or the festival for, and that influences the selection a lot, I guess, too.
Yes, and like personally, I like when there is a story behind the project. But I really love science art and science. Like, I don't know, for example, on our booth there is this wonderful work by Quadrature, when you can see like a sculpture that is representing the Big Bang, the point of the Big Bang, but in a very like delicate sculptural form. I don't know.
Sophisticated, I would say.
Sophisticated, yeah. And like I always like what I'm trying to teach my students is to put the problem in the top of the project, and to be able to talk about this problem in like 1 or 2 sentences. So it's sketchy, it's understandable. You could easily hear the nerve. Yes. So yeah, but of course, like on the other, so I like this logical, sober projects on one hand. On the others, of course, I like projects that I really don't understand what's going on, like at all, and so that are like really weird and like unexplainable. And this is like my personal path to get through this project. Like I don't know, I like transgressive projects that can maybe hurt you, harm you, and so on. This is
but teach you.
Yeah, teach you. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it's like you have the idea, and then how the idea is generated and constructed also determine its value, and then in the end, the result, how the people and the visitors interact with that idea, is the overall concept.
Yeah, it has to open with a viewer. Like it's, I guess that's what we're trying to do. Also, as we spoke about today, is to introduce the idea of a visitor, because like what you can very often see at the festivals of like especially arts and science and technology, like this is like a dark room with some labels which you can't read. So there is no light. It's written like in a very small letters, and it's impossible to interact with that. And the same, like sometimes the artworks themselves, they're like I don't know, hard to interact with them.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, probably.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, thank you so much for coming and for a great question.